5:43 a.m. The hospital doors slammed open. Roselline's fragile body was being wheeled in fast. Her eyes shut, her chest barely rising beneath the oxygen mask. Nurses shouted codes. A doctor yelled, "Clear the corridor. We're losing time." Mama Conde stood in the hallway, frozen. Her hands trembled as she watched Roselline disappear behind emergency room doors. A loud beep echoed from inside. Another, then silence, and suddenly chaos. Doctors sprinted in different directions. A nurse burst out of the ER shouting for blood. Another rolled in a crash cart. Mama Conde's knees buckled. She gripped the wall, tears sliding down her cheeks. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Just a desperate, aching prayer from the depths of her soul. God, please don't take her. Not like this. She has gone through a lot. Not after everything. She closed her eyes, TGHDLY. The sound of her own heartbeat roared in her ears as the world blurred around her. Inside the police van, the vehicle rattled as it moved through the silent city, dawn barely cracking to the tinted windows. Sarah sat wedged between two officers, her hands cuffed tightly, her face soaked in angry tears. "You got the wrong person," she shrieked, her voice hoarse. "Let me go. I didn't do anything." No one answered. She turned toward Raphael, her face twisted in disbelief and rage. "You just gonna sit there and say nothing? Huh? After everything we did together?" Raphael kept his head down. He stared at the floor, jaw clenched, silent. "You're the monster here, not me." Sarah screamed. "Take him. Arrest him. What about his parents? Huh? What about his family? They're the devils. Wicked, heartless souls, all of them." She kicked at the metal cage between them. "Go and arrest the entire family. The siblings, the father, the witch mother. You think I'm the problem? You're blind. I was used." The officer beside her leaned away slightly, but still said nothing. Raphael finally looked up. His face was blank. Cold. Not even guilt. Just emptiness. Sarah turned away, panting, sobbing. Her voice cracked into a whisper. "I should have walked away. I should have walked away." Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Mama Conde sat alone on the bench outside Dior, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles were white. She didn't care that her headscarf was slipping or that she had lost a shoe in the panic. All she cared about was a girl fighting for her life behind those cold doors. A nurse approached, slowly. "Ma, we're trying our best. Please hold on." Mama Conde just nodded. She couldn't speak. She just pressed her forehead to the wall, still whispering, "God, I will give anything, just bring her back." The hallway outside the ICU felt like it had no air. Mama Conde sat on a cold metal bench, her wrapper gathered tightly around her legs, hands clenched, eyes staring into nothing. She hadn't moved in almost 20 minutes. The buzzing machines behind the wall were the only things reminding her that Roselline was still holding on, barely, then hurried footsteps. A sharply dressed man approached, briefcase in hand, voice low but urgent. "Madame Conde?" She turned slowly. It was Mr. Teo, the family lawyer. He knelt in front of her, lowering his tone as if afraid his voice might shatter her. "I got in touch with her parents. They're currently in transit. Flight should be landing by tomorrow morning. And..." "Anthony?" she interrupted, her voice breaking. "Yes," he nodded. "He's on his way from London. Took the first available flight. He should be here by this evening." Mama Conde closed her eyes, a tear escaped in the corner. Before more could be said, the ICU door swung open. Dr. Farouk stepped out. His face was stiff, his eyes tired. The kind of tired that didn't come from lack of sleep, but from bearing news people weren't ready to hear. "Who's here for Miss Roselline?" The lawyer stood. "We are, for now. Her parents are on their way, but we're the closest people available at the moment." Mama Conde stood beside him without hesitation. "We're her people," she said firmly. Dr. Farouk gestured toward his office. "Please come with me." Inside the doctor's office, a dull hum filled the room, air conditioning in despair. Dr. Farouk sat behind his desk, but didn't touch the files in front of him. He folded his hands and looked up. We've run multiple tests. Her vitals are weak, and most of her major organs have started to shut down. The words landed like stones. There's evidence of prolonged poisoning, multiple toxic substances in her bloodstream. It's done a lot of internal damage over time. Her liver's inflamed, but he paused, lowering his eyes. It's her kidneys. They've completely shut down. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Mama Conde placed both hands on her head. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Roselline. The doctor looked between the two of them gently. She needs an urgent kidney transplant. Time is critical. If we don't find a donor within the next 48 to 72 hours, we may lose her. Mr. Teo swallowed hard. Doctor, do everything. Start searching. Reach out to the transplant unit. Use my name. Whatever it takes. But Mama Conde stepped forward. Wait! Her voice was calm, but her eyes were shining now with something different. A quiet fire. Can I be tested? My kidney. Maybe one of them will fit. The doctor blinked. We can test you, yes. But ma'am, are you sure? Mr. Teo turned to her sharply. Madame Conde, do you understand what you're offering? This isn't small. Are you even related to her? She looked him dead in the eye. No, I'm not. She looked down for a moment, as if gathering the strength to peel back something deeply hidden. I'm not her mother. I'm not blood. I'm just the woman who stayed when no one else did. Her voice trembled. I've shared out of her pains. I've listened to her groans and pains and sickness. And every time she called me Mama, my heart answered like it was mine. She turned to the doctor, voice soft but firm. I've never had a child of my own. I've prayed, fasted, cried, visited mountains, drank bitter herbs. Nothing, not one child. But if I can save someone's child, this child, then maybe, just maybe, God didn't deny me motherhood. He delayed it for a moment like this. Mr. Teo stood frozen, mouth parted in shock. Dr. Farouk's eyes glistened. We'll run the test immediately. Mama Conde nodded. Please. 7:58 a.m., Lagos State Police Command. The cold, tiled corridor echoed with every footstep. 2 doors, 2 rooms. Sarah in one, Raphael in the other, both under bright lights, both about to face their truths or twist them. Interrogation room 1, Sarah. Sarah sat hunched in a steel chair, her hands cuffed in front of her, fingers trembling. Her mascara had dried into streaks. Her lips were cracked, but her voice still carried the edge of desperation. Detective Mako leaned forward, elbows on the table. Start talking. From the beginning. Sarah looked up, eyes wild, voice shaky. It was Raphael, it was all him. He dragged me into this. He and his family, they threatened me, said if I didn't play along, they'd make me disappear. I swear I didn't want this life. I didn't want blood money, but I had no choice. Detective Mako narrowed his eyes. But you were pretending to be his sister. Why? Sarah hesitated. Then she cracked. Because he made me. Raphael's my husband. We have 2 kids together. But he told everyone I was his sister, so we could live in that house and keep up appearances for Roselline. She broke into tears. I didn't want this. I just wanted a simple life. He promised me we'd be rich. I didn't know it would come with this kind of darkness. Interrogation room 2, Raphael. Raphael sat tall, arms folded, face like stone. Detective Khalid paced slowly in front of him. Sarah's talking. She says this was your operation. Raphael scoffed. Sarah? That woman's mad. She's the one who knows Roselline. Not me. I was just the driver. Roselline is my boss. I never touched her. I never harmed her. I didn't even know she was sick. He shrugged with an icy calm. Sarah's always been unstable. She's the one who's been around Roselline the most. If anyone's poisoned that girl, it's her. He leaned back, eyes unblinking. Detain her. Let me go. 30 minutes later, evidence room. Detectives rolled in a flat-screen TV and sat both suspects side by side. 2 chairs. No more lies. A video began to play. Grainy footage. From a hidden camera in their shared room. Sarah's voice. I put in just 2 drops today. That's enough. She'll keep getting weak slowly. Raphael's voice. Good. No suspicion. Just keep acting like the sweet caregiver. When she dies, we inherit everything. She signed the papers. Sarah's gasp echoed in the room. Her body folded inwards. She let out a sob, so deep it sounded like it came from her bones. I didn't mean to. God, what have I done? Raphael didn't blink, didn't flinch. His arms folded. His face, ice. Detective Mako stood silently, letting the room drown in its own tension. Sarah turned to Raphael, whispering through tears. You promised me. You said no one would find out. You said Roselline has no one to ask about her. Raphael, I hate you. Raphael looked away, as if she was a stranger. 4:46 a.m., surgical ward, St. Margaret's Hospital. The hallway was quiet. Still, only the soft squeak of rubber saws echoed as nurses rolled out 2 beds side by side. Mama Conde lay still, pale, drained. Her wrapper had been replaced by a patient gown, for lines feeding slowly into her veins. Beside her, Roselline, intubated, monitored, held alive by a symphony of machines. 2 women, 1 body lighter. 1 life is heavier, bound now not just by care, but by flesh. ICU, partition window. On the other side of the glass, Chief Attaboy stood in silence. A proud man reduced to breathless awe. Beside him, his wife, Mrs. Attaboy, wept quietly, her hands trembling as she gripped her husband's chest. That woman gave our daughter another chance, she whispered through her tears. And we weren't even here. Her voice broke, her face pressed gently into glass. Inside, monitors beeped softly. Roselline's chest rose and fell with a mechanical rhythm. Mama Conde's oxygen mask fogged slightly with every fragile exhale. Standing slightly behind them, the lawyer, Mr. T.O., held a folder in his hand, untouched. He wasn't speaking, just watching, bearing witness to something no contract could ever define. He looked at the older woman through the glass, this woman who had just given a kidney and possibly shortened her life so another woman's daughter could live. He blinked back the heat behind his eyes. God, he muttered under his breath, don't let it be for nothing. The ICU nurse gently approached from inside. Vitals are holding. They're both stable for now. Chief Attaboy closed his eyes. Mrs. Attaboy kissed her wedding ring and placed her hand back on the glass. Roselline, baby, wake up. Please wake up. She gave you a second chance. And Mama Conde, though still unconscious, smiled faintly. 10:39 a.m., ICU recovery unit. The room smelled faintly of antiseptic and filtered air. Machines clicked softly. A nurse whispered updates to another behind a thin glass screen. In the center of it all, Roselline's fingers twitched. Her lashes fluttered like a slow breeze passing through dry leaves. Then her lips parted. She groaned. The nurse noticed immediately. Doctor, she's waking up. Across the hospital, Mama Conde still lay unconscious, her body struggling to stabilize after the kidney removal. Her chest rose and fell slowly, aided by oxygen. She wasn't awake, but she wasn't gone either. Inside the ICU, Roselline blinked. The ceiling lights hurt. Her throat burned. Her body felt like someone else's. Where am I? A gentle hand took hers. Rosie, it was Mrs. Attaboy. Her voice cracked as tears spilled down her cheeks. You're safe now, baby, you're alive. Behind her, Chief Attaboy stood stiffly, his jaw clenched, eyes glassy. Roselline's eyes turned toward the window, dazed. Mama, that name broke Mrs. Attaboy. She fell to her knees beside the bed. She gave you her kidney, Roselline. She saved your life. That woman who stayed. Roselline gasped, sharp, pained, her mind catching up with the truth. Where is she? She's still unconscious, said the nurse gently, but she's stable. She made it through surgery. 5:43 p.m., ICU recovery wing. The machines beeped slower now. Mama Conde lay motionless, her body small beneath the blankets. She looked like she had been carved from stone. Still, pale, breath rising only because a machine beside her told it to. The nurse marked something on the chart and walked quietly to the window. "She's slipping," she whispered to Mrs. Attaboy. Mrs. Attaboy pressed her lips together, blinking fast. "God, please, not after everything." Down the hallway, another wheelchair rolled slowly forward. In it sat Roselline, her frame thinner now, her face pale, but her eyes full of life. She gripped the armrest tightly, her legs still too weak to carry her. By her side, Mrs. Attaboy walked quietly, one hand on her daughter's shoulder, while a nurse pushed the chair from behind. The three of them entered the room, and there she was, Mama Conde, her head wrapped neatly, her chest rising and falling with the slow rhythm of assisted breath, but her soul seemed far away. Roselline's hands trembled as she reached out. "Mama Conde." She motioned for the nurse to stop the chair beside the bed. She leaned forward, tears already pooling in her eyes. "You saved me once when they tried to break me. You stayed." Her voice cracked. "You stood between me and the people I trusted, Raphael and Sarah. You snatched me from the end of death. You saw the truth when I was blind." She reached out and gently touched Mama Conde's hand. It was warm, but unresponsive. "Then you saved me again. You gave me your kidney. You gave me your body so I could live. You gave everything." Roselline broke. "And now I want to call you Mother. I want to wake up tomorrow and say good morning, Mummy. But you're not even hearing me." Mrs. Attaboy quietly wiped her own tears. "Rosie," but Roselline raised her voice, crying fully now. "Stand up, Mama Conde. Please. I'm not strong without you. I don't care what blood runs in me. You are the one who gave me life again. Come back to me." She buried her face into Mama Conde's hand and wept. The machines kept beeping, but Mama Conde didn't move. Yet, in the slow rhythm of that silence, her fingers twitched. A single twitch, a breath deeper than the last. 3 months later, Lagos State High Court. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, families, police. The air felt heavier than the marble walls could hold. Raphael and Sarah stood in the dock, handcuffed, heads low, but the shame on their faces was uneven. Sarah cried silently. Raphael? Stone cold, as always. Across from them, Mama Raphael, Baba Raphael, Eric, and Deborah sat in the defendant's row, heads bowed, caught in the web of conspiracy and greed. The judge's voice cut through the murmurs like thunder. Raphael Atateo and Sarah Atateo, for the attempted murder of Miss Roselline Attaboy, conspiracy to defraud, and identity falsification. This court hereby sentences you both to life imprisonment. The room gasped. As for the remaining defendants who aided, concealed, or enabled this crime, she looked toward Mama Raphael and the others. You are each sentenced to 15 years in prison, without the possibility of early release. Weeks passed. Seasons began to change. But in one hospital room, time stood still. Mama Conde remained in a coma, unmoving, unstirred, but never alone. Attaboy residence, garden courtyard. The air was soft and fragrant with hibiscus blooms. Roselline, finally home, walked slowly through the garden with Mrs. Attaboy supporting her arm. When they reached a wooden bench beneath the bougainvillea tree, Chief Attaboy was already there, waiting, arms folded, a look of warmth and watchfulness on his face. Roselline knelt gently before them, tears brimming in her eyes. Daddy, Mummy, I'm sorry. I was foolish. I should have listened to you. I let love blind me. Her voice cracked. I almost died for someone who never loved me, someone who used me. Mrs. Attaboy knelt beside her, wiping her tears. You came back to us. That's what matters. Chief Attaboy nodded slowly. Those documents, the property transfer you signed, it was all staged. Staged? Roselline looked up, stunned. Yes, he continued. I instructed the family lawyer to let it play out, to let them think they had won, while we locked everything under a corporate trust. Not a single property changed hands. He leaned forward, his voice firm but gentle. I knew what kind of snake Raphael was. I just didn't want to lose you proving it. Roselline wept again, but this time from a place of safety. Thank you for not giving up on me. Chief Attaboy stood and pulled her into a quiet, fatherly embrace. Now use your second chance wisely. Back at the hospital, Roselline arrived in the early evening. She no longer needed a nurse to help her walk. She entered Mama Conde's room, placed her bag down, and sat beside the bed like she always did. I came again, Mama, and I'm not leaving until you come back. She held her hand gently, resting her head against it. The monitor beeped steadily. The room was quiet, but Roselline smiled. You waited for me, now I'll wait for you. The hospital room is quiet, except for the steady, rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor. Roselline sits beside Mama Conde, her eyes red from days of sleepless worry. Her hand gently wraps around the frail hand of the woman who had become more of a mother to her than anyone else ever dared to be. Roselline, softly, whispering, praying, Please, Mama, wake up. I need you. I need your voice. You can't go like this. Not after everything. Please, fight back. Just one more miracle, Lord. Just one more. She squeezes Mama Conde's hand and lowers her head, tears quietly streaming down her cheeks. Then, sound. Door creaks open. Slow footsteps. Uneven. Heavy. Roselline looks up, startled. Her breath catches in her throat. Roselline, voice trembling. Anthony? She stands, staring in disbelief at the man who limps into the room, gaunt, worn, and dragging his right leg slightly. There's a slight tremor in his left hand as he braces himself against the wall. Roselline, rushing to him. Oh my God, what happened to you? Why are you walking like this? Are you? Anthony, calm yet wounded. I came to stop the wedding. I couldn't let it happen, Rosie. I knew something wasn't right. I knew him. Raphael. I knew his past. But I was too late. He breathes heavily, voice shaking under the weight of buried pain. Anthony. His boys were waiting for me. They beat me so bad I couldn't walk. Crushed my leg. I've had 3 surgeries just to stand like this. I almost died. Roselline's legs give way slightly as she clutches her chest, sobbing. Roselline, no, you warned me. You begged me, and I didn't listen. Anthony, I'm so sorry. Anthony, gently. You paid your own price too, Rosie. They both turn silently to look at Mama Conde. Roselline steps closer to her again, squeezing her hand more tightly now, tears falling faster. Roselline, desperate. Mama, if you can hear me, please come back. I need you. We both need you, please. Suddenly, a long, high-pitched tone cuts through the room. Sound flatline. Beep. Nurses rush in. A doctor pushes past Roselline and Anthony, barking orders. They're ushered out quickly. Seen outside the ICU window, through the glass, Roselline and Anthony stand frozen, staring through the glass. Inside, the medical team works quickly. A nurse is performing chest compressions. Another prepares an oxygen tube. Roselline's hands tremble against the glass as she watches helplessly. Anthony lowers his head in silence. Roselline whispers, Please don't take her. Not like this. Then stillness. The team stops. The doctor looks up, shaking his head slowly. Scene, hospital hallway. Seconds later, the doctor walks out, removing his gloves with a soft sigh. His eyes meet Roselline's. Doctor, softly, I'm sorry. She's gone. Roselline falls to her knees, her face contorted in agony as the weight of the news hits her like a tidal wave. Her scream is raw, ripped from the core of her being. Roselline, sobbing. No, Mama, please, no. Anthony kneels beside her, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder as she breaks down in tears on the cold hospital floor. Fade out as the monitor's final beep echoes faintly in the background. The group stands solemnly at the edge of a quiet burial ground. Roselline, her parents, and Anthony are gathered before Mama Conde's fresh grave. The sun dips low, casting a soft golden light over the scene, the air heavy with silence and grief. Roselline, holding a bouquet of white lilies, kneels gently beside the grave, her tears falling freely as she places the flowers down. Roselline, whispering, choked with emotion, "Mama, you gave me everything. You gave me life and love, and yet you lost your own. How do I ever thank you for that? How do I ever show you that you'll never be forgotten? You gave me a family, a home, and now you're gone, but your memory will linger with me forever. I'll carry it in my heart, in my thoughts. Your love will never leave me." She presses her hand gently against the cold stone, her voice breaking as she speaks. Roselline, tears streaming, "I promise I will never forget you. You're with me always." Her parents stand behind her, silent, their eyes filled with sorrow. Anthony watches, his heart heavy, but his presence is a silent pillar of support. Roselline slowly stands, wiping away the tears as she looks one last time at the grave before stepping back. The camera lingers on her, alone in her grief, but not without the strength of the memory. The walls of the jail cell are thick, the silence oppressive. Roselline stands before the barred window of the visitation room, her eyes steady, but her heart in turmoil. On the other side, Raphael sits shackled, his once confident demeanor now replaced with a sense of defeat. His eyes flicker with something, regret, fear, but it's too late. Roselline steps forward, her gaze unwavering. Raphael, softly, almost pleading, "I never meant for it to go this far. I'm sorry." Roselline looks at him, the tears still fresh on her face, her voice calm but cold. "Roselline," her voice breaking slightly, "you never meant for it to go this far. You made sure I couldn't even carry my own child. You played with my life like it was a game. You connived with your family to deceive me, to ruin me. And then, when you had the chance, you tried to kill me. You sent your wife-turned-sister to finish the job. You knew what you were doing, Raphael. You knew." Her voice grows firmer with each word, but the pain in her eyes is raw and unhealed. Roselline whispering, "You betrayed me. You ruined me. And for what? What did I ever do to deserve this?" She steps closer to the bars, her eyes fierce with anger now. Raphael, reaching for bars, desperation creeping into his voice. "Please, Roselline, I made a mistake. I was wrong. Forgive me. Please." Roselline stares at him, her face hardening with each passing moment. Then, with a deep, unshakable breath, she speaks the words that will seal their fate. Roselline, voice trembling with wrath and sorrow, "May heaven curse the day you were born." Her words hang heavy in the air, the finality of them cutting through the silence. She takes another step back, her eyes filled with sorrow, but no mercy. "Roselline," her voice low but deadly, "may you never find peace in the land of the living." Raphael reaches out once more, but she steps back farther, her face filled with both anger and heartbreak. Roselline, coldly, "Rot in jail." She turns, her movement swift and decisive, walking away without a glance back. Raphael's figure fades into the distance as she leaves, her footsteps echoing in the silence of the hallway, the weight of the moment still lingering. She walks away from him, leaving him to face the consequences of his actions alone. The end. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your opinions at the comments section. Subscribe, like, and comment. Crystalline values you.